All right, good morning, everybody. So I'm realizing they updated the app, and they've made the space way bigger, so you guys will actually be able, hopefully, to see me and my whole body now. Anyway, good morning. Let's go ahead and get started. So we'll just start in a seat. So sitting up nice and tall, let's just close down those eyes. Let's just take a couple breaths here. Just to kind of connect with the space, just to let everything go. Just be here in this moment. Taking that really big breath in through the nose. And exhale it out through the nose. Take a really big breath in, sitting up taller, filling those lungs. And exhale that breath out, just nice and slow. And one more, just like that. And just continuing to breathe on your own. Maybe a little bit more naturally, but we still want that really big breath. Really slow exhale. Now go ahead and grab onto the fronts of those knees. Just go ahead and round that spine as we roll it back. So tucking that chin, feeling that stretch in between the shoulder blades. And then inhale, we'll bring that chest forward and up. Just hover it right over the shins. And exhale, we'll round it back. And inhale, bring it forward and up. And exhale, round it back. And inhale, forward and up. Now pause it here. Walking those hands out, stretching out through those hips. And then maybe we walk those hands over to that left side. And try and ground that right hip down. Especially if you're a little bit tighter, that might start to lift a little bit. So press that hip back as much as you can. And let's go over to the other side. Big reach out through that left arm, pressing that left hip back. And bring it back to center. Let's go ahead and sit up nice and tall. Let's switch that across the legs. And grabbing onto the fronts of those knees. Around that spine, roll it back. And inhale, bring it forward and up. And exhale, round it back. Inhale, forward and up. And round it back. And forward. So flatten out that back, and we'll pause, walking those hands forward. And then let's walk those hands over to that right side. Keeping that left hip pressing down. And we'll come to center, and then we'll go over to the other side. And then walk it back to center, and then we'll sit up nice and tall. Just reach those arms up, twisting it over to that right side tall on that inhale. Exhale a little deeper into that twist. Bring it back to center, reach it up, and over to that other side. Sit tall on that inhale, and exhale, twist. And let's go a couple more times each side. Reach it up tall, and twist. Back to center, reach up, and twist it to the other side. One more time, reach it up, and over. tall, and twist. Bring it back through to center. We're going to come onto those hands and knees. So hands are underneath those shoulders, knees are underneath those hips. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone as we look up. And exhale, round. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, round. Now as we round, we're going to sit those hips back into that child's pose, keeping those knees a little closer together. And then inhale, bring it back up. Keep that nice rounded spine. Drop that belly, lift the chest, the tailbone as we look up. Exhale, round, send it back. And bring it back up. Drop that belly, lift the chest, the tailbone. And exhale, round it back. So one more time, lift it up. Drop the belly, lift the chest, tailbone. And exhale, round it back. Pausing here in this child's pose for a moment. And reconnecting with that nice big inhale. And then exhale. Really slow down that exhale. And maybe one more time, one or two more times just on your own. And then go ahead and bring it back up to hands and knees. Go ahead and send that right leg back. Flex that foot. We almost have my whole body in there. Exhale, curl that knee in. Send that leg out. Curl it in. Reach it back out. And curl that knee in. Stepping that foot through. Inhale. Balance. Rising up. Reaching those arms up and back. Core is tight. Pressing into those hips. Stretching out through that left hip flexor. Stay with that breath. Let's add a little twist. Left arm's gonna reach forward. Right arm reaches back. And reach both arms back up. And then lower the hands down. Sending that leg back. And then lower that knee down. Let's go to the other side. Left leg reaches back. Point those toes down. Curl that knee in. Inhale, press it back out. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, press it out. And then exhale, curl it in. Stepping that foot through. Inhale, reaching those arms up. Core is tight. Then press those hips forward. Now on that twist, right hand is going to reach forward. Left arm is going to reach back. So trying to tee out those arms. One more breath. And then we'll reach those arms up. Lowering those hands down, sending that leg straight back and lower that knee down. So maybe give it some sways from side to side, some cat-cows, whatever you need. I'm going to do that one more time. So right leg is going to reach back. Curl that knee in. Send the foot back. Curl it in. Press it back out. Curl it in, stepping that foot through, inhaling those arms up. Press those hips forward. And then find that twist. Left hand forward, right arm reaches back. Then inhale, both arms reach up. Lower the hands down, sending it back. And lower that knee down. Sending that left leg back. Curl that knee in. Press it back out. Curl it in. Press it out. Last one, curl it in. Step that foot through. Inhale, reach those arms up. And then we'll find that twist. Right hand forward, left arm reaches back. And then reach both arms up, lowering those hands down. And send it on back and lower that knee down. So again, we'll come into a child's pose. Maybe go a little bit wider with the knees this time. So a little more opening through that upper back. Sending those hips back to those heels, reaching those arms forward, and go ahead and rest that head down. So again, the wider we bring those knees, the more of an inner thigh stretch we get. So depending on if that's what you want, and knees together. Gives you a little bit more rounding through that low back. So if that feels good for you, you have that option too. And then go ahead and press back up onto hands and knees. Go ahead and step it back to a plank, and then bring those hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Slight bend in those knees, pressing that tailbone up towards the ceiling, pressing those heels down towards the mat, gripping those fingers into the ground, and then pulling those forearms towards each other. Yes, we're stabilizing through the shoulders. We're keeping that core nice and tight, pressing that belly back to those thighs. Tailbone is pressing up, and then the heels are pressing down. One more breath. And then we'll come onto the toes. Bend those knees, look forward, stepping those feet, top of the mat. Inhale that half lift, so nice flat back on that inhale. And then exhale, we can slide those hands down as we fold. So maybe we just let that head hang nice and heavy. If this is a little bit too much on the low back, just go ahead and prop those hands up on the shins, give that back a little support. Another thing is if we're really far forward on the toes, it's gonna load our spine a little bit more. So we wanna shift the weight back, and it activates the glutes a little bit more. So we take the pressure off of the back, we put it into that stronger muscle group, which is gonna be this whole posterior chain right there. Glutes, the hamstrings. Now, slight bend into those knees, rising up. So again, that's one of those times we rise up, shift that weight back, use the glutes to rise up. Good. Now bring those hands down to heart center. Take a breath. And then we'll inhale those overhead. Let's go ahead and give those fingers, we'll interlace them. I'm too tall for this. Okay, we'll interlace those fingers. We'll bring those palms to point up towards the ceiling. Squeezing those biceps right by those ears. Core is tight, and then we'll bend it over to that right side. And then we'll bring it back up. Let's go to the other side. Ooh, a little tight this morning. And then we'll bring it back up. Go ahead and release those hands down to the mat, finding that flat back. And then we'll plant those hands down, stepping those feet back to our plank. Shift that weight forward. We want those shoulders coming over the fingertips. If we need to lower onto the knees, that is always an option. And then lower, 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 all the way down to your stomach. Point those toes, lifting that chest up, cobra. Or maybe we can press up into that upward facing dog. Now, if you're taking the up dog approach, we don't want to be here with our shoulders right by their ears. We want the shoulders pressing down nice and top of the neck, long spine. And then exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Another breath or two in down dog. And we'll come on the toes. Bend into those knees, stepping those feet top of the mat. Inhaling the half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale those hands to heart center. And inhale, reach it up tall. Interlace those fingers, palms up. Let's find that side bend over to the right. Inhale it up, over to the left. Inhale, reach it up. And exhale, release the hands as we flat back on that inhale. And exhale, we'll plant those hands down, stepping those feet back to our plank. Lower down. Inhale, lift. And exhaling those feet up and back. Downward facing dog. One more time. On the toes. Bend the knees, stepping those feet top of the mat. Half lift on that inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, we'll rise. Exhale those hands to heart center. Inhale, reach those arms up. Interlace the fingers, palms up. And bend it to the right. Inhale it back up to the left. Bring it back up. And exhale, fold. Inhale the half lift. And exhale, plant those hands. Step those feet back. lower down. Inhale, lift. And exhale, we'll send those hips back to that child's pose. So again, bringing those knees maybe a little wider as we soften that head down. If you want more of that stretch, the upper back, start to bend those elbows. And just bring your hands to kind of the palms of the hands towards that space between those shoulder blades. You walk the elbows forward as far as you can, keeping those hips back to the heels, softening that chest down. So maybe even a little stretch through the triceps, to that T-spine. And then we'll release those arms, come back up onto those hands and knees. Go ahead and step it back to our downward facing dog. Bring those feet together, bring that right leg up, curl that knee to the nose, stepping that foot through. Same idea as earlier. We're gonna be in that lunge, reaching those arms up. Now, if this high lunge was a little aggressive for you this morning, grab a wall, have it next to you, hold on to, or if you want to lower onto that knee, that's an option too. So modifying as needed. From here, core is tight. Sink into that front knee. We're going to twist. Left arm's going to reach forward. Right arm reaches back. Try gaze back. Find that right thumb. Now reach both arms back up. Sink a little deeper. And lower those hands down. Stepping that foot back to our down dog. Step now. Inhale the left leg up. Step that foot through to that thumb. Back heel stays up. Now again, grab that wall or lower down onto this left knee or onto the right knee for that modification. Now, we're going to twist. Right hand reaches forward. Left arm reaches back. Find that left thumb. And then inhale those arms back up. Sink a little deeper. And then lower the hands down. Step it back to that down dog. Now let's go ahead and step those feet right behind the hands. So a little bit wider stance. I have my feet right at the edge of my mat. So find that flat back and fold. Heels in, toes out. Sink those hips down into that squat. So maybe that squat's a little bit higher. If those hips are a little bit tighter, maybe you can sink those hips down a little bit lower. Really actively press those knees out. So engaging through those glutes and then sink those hips down maybe a little bit lower. You might have to give it a moment for those calves and the ankles. Release. And stay with that breath. Nice flat back. So we want this to be a little bit more active. I don't want you guys collapsing down here. Okay, I'd rather you guys be all the way up here with a nice flat back than to be in that position before. Or maybe somewhere in the middle, obviously, but keeping that core nice and tight, keeping that flat back, keeping a little bit of tension through those legs. One more breath, and then we'll straighten those legs as we fold it forward. Again, plant those hands, step it back to our down dog. Now we'll send that right foot through, inhaling those arms up into that crescent lunge. Twisting, left arm reaches forward, right arm reaches back. Now we're gonna flip that left palm, reach up as this right hand reaches for that hamstring, easing over that shoulder. And then we'll circle those arms down to the ground. Step it back down, dog. Other side, left foot steps through. Inhale those arms up into our lunge. And then we'll twist. Right hand reaches forward, left arm reaches back. Now we'll flip that palm. Right arm reaches up, left hand's gonna reach for that hamstring. And then we'll circle those hands down. Go ahead and step it back. Let's go into a plank this time. Let's move through one last vinyasa. Lower down. Inhale, lift. And exhaling those hips up and back into our downward facing dog. And now let's go ahead and lower down onto the knees. So we've been doing those wide knee child's poses. So we're going to take it a little bit further. Okay, so since I'm on hardwood floor, I come to the long edge of my mat. If you're on carpet or a rug thingy, it really doesn't matter. But we're going to bring those knees out a little bit, not a little bit, a lot of bit wider. Now, if you want to go into that full frog pose, you can see my feet. You want those toes pointing out. So we want the heels right in line with those knees. Okay, or if that's a lot for you, as it is for me, I bring my toes to point in a little bit more, but I still have those knees out super, super wide. So even in this position, I start to feel that stretch through those inner thighs, through those hips, and you can start to lower down onto those elbows. Now maybe you get your chest all the way down to the ground. Maybe you can press your hips all the way back so it's almost on the ground. Yeah, great. Good for you. If not, it's totally fine too. I'm clearly not there either. Just stay here, gently pressing into those elbows, those forearms, to press those hips back a little bit more. Staying with that breath. You feel like it starts to release a little bit, and you can press those hips back maybe a centimeter more. Now come back onto the forearms. Okay, flatten out that back. Now we're going to twist, reaching. Ooh, well, maybe you guys, that right arm up. Lower down, twisting, reaching. That left arm up. And lower it down and pause it here for a second. And slowly make your way out of it. And then we'll come on to our backs. So, knees are bent, lower it down. We'll go one hip bridge just to kind of stretch out through those hip flexors. So press into those feet, lift it up, squeezing those glutes, core tight. Let's hold this for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly lower those hips down. And hugging those knees into the chest. And now we'll bring those hips over to that left side just slightly. Okay, just kind of pop it up, move it to the left like an inch or two. And then we'll drop those knees over to that right side. So I do that. So now that we've twisted, our spine is kind of still in that nice straight line in the middle of the mat. Arms tee out. And bring it back to center. Let's go to the other side, popping those hips over to that right side. Okay, then knees stack over the hips. Dropping those knees over to that left side. Bring it back to center. Hug those knees in. And make your way up to that seat and sitting tall. Legs crossed, closing down the eyes. Just pause for a moment. Just big breath in through the nose. That big breath out through the nose. 2 more times on your own. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me this morning. Have a great rest of your day. And then I'm teaching that, well, it's like a boot camp class. I'm blanking on the name, the name of it right now, but intro to weights or strength training or something like that. I don't know, come check it out if you're interested in something a little bit more upbeat, get you kind of moving, a little bit more strength building type stuff.